You know, if you've touched the internet at all today, you've used JavaScript. It's the invisible engine that powers pretty much everything you see and do online. But this powerhouse of the modern web has a secret, a quiet dispute that's been bubbling under the surface for decades, and it's all about its own name. Think about it. Millions of developers write in it every day. Billions of us use it without even knowing. But almost nobody realizes that the name, JavaScript, isn't actually free for anyone to use. Nope, it's a registered trademark, which leads to a really simple question. Who in the world owns the name of the world's most popular language? And the answer is Oracle. Yeah, the tech giant that has almost nothing to do with JavaScript's day-to-day life or its massive community. And that one single, kind of weird fact has sparked a huge legal challenge led by the very people who built the JavaScript world as we know it. So you're probably asking, how on earth did Oracle end up with the rights to a name so fundamental to the open web? Well, it's a story that goes back to a whole different era of the internet, a story of corporate deals and acquisitions. The journey of this trademark is pretty wild. It all starts way back in 1995. Netscape and Sun Microsystems team up, JavaScript is born, and Sun gets the trademark. Okay, simple enough. Now, flash forward to 2009, Oracle buys Sun Microsystems. And when they did, they got all of Sun's tech and, you guessed it, their whole portfolio of trademarks, including JavaScript. And that brings us to today, where this trademark is basically a relic of an old business deal, a historical artifact that's causing a very, very modern problem. To really get why the community is fighting back now, we need to dive into the core of their legal argument. And it all boils down to this one concept called trademark abandonment. In simple terms, trademark law has this use it or lose it principle. If a company stops using a trademark in their business, or, and this is the big one, if they let that name become the common, everyday word for something, they can actually lose their rights to it. Think about how words like escalator or thermos used to be brand names. That's what we're talking about. So there are two main ways a trademark can be considered abandoned. The first is pretty straightforward, non-use. If you aren't actually selling a product with that name for 3 years straight, the law basically assumes you've moved on. The second path is when a name becomes generic. That's when the public just starts using your brand name to talk about all similar products, not just yours. And the dev community, they're arguing that for the JavaScript trademark, Oracle is guilty on both counts. Okay, so let's take these legal ideas and apply them directly to Oracle. This is where the community's challenge really starts to make a ton of sense. First, let's look at that non-use argument. The challengers are basically saying, hey, Oracle, show us the product you sell called JavaScript. And the thing is, they can't. Oracle has never sold a product with that name. Sure, they might mention that some of their tools support JavaScript, but the argument is that's not real commercial use. It's like a car company saying their cars have tires. They aren't selling a product called tires, they're just describing a feature. And then you have the generic term argument, which is honestly maybe even stronger. For decades, everyone, developers, big tech companies, universities, has used the word JavaScript to mean one thing, the programming language. And during all that time, Oracle hasn't really stopped anyone. The argument is that by not enforcing their trademark, they've let the name become the common term for the technology itself, so it's lost its power as a specific brand. Now, I know this might all sound like a purely legal squabble, but this trademark being in limbo has some very real and, frankly, kind of silly consequences for the people who actually build the web every day. You don't have to take my word for it. This quote from Brendan Eich, the guy who literally invented JavaScript, just says it all. Because the original owners wouldn't let the official standards body use the name JavaScript, they had to come up with ECMAScript. And, well, as you can see, he was never a fan. Just let that sink in for a second. The most popular, most widely used programming language on the entire planet can't have an official event or a technical document with its own name in the title. It's just a bizarre situation that forces this entire global community to walk on eggshells. So what do? They've come up with all these workarounds. The world's biggest and best conferences use abbreviations like JSConf. The official rulebook for the language, like we said, is called ECMAScript. And the technical group that guides the language's future, they're just known as TC39. They've had to create a whole secret code just to avoid using the language's real name. So after years of this frustration, after quiet requests went nowhere, the community decided it was time to take formal action. And this isn't just a few random people complaining online. We're talking about an organized coalition of the language's most important and influential figures. If you want to understand the scale of this, just look at this number. Over 28,000 developers, engineers, and tech leaders signed on to support this petition. This is not a fringe movement. This is a massive, unified voice from the very heart of the tech industry. And the people leading this charge? It's basically a who's who of the JavaScript world. You've got Brendan Eich, the creator of the language itself, Ryan Dahl, who created Node.js, Isaac Schluter, the guy behind NPM, the package manager everyone uses, Rich Harris, who created Svelte. These aren't just developers, these are the architects of the modern web, and they are all united on this. So, the battle lines have been drawn. Where does this high-stakes legal fight stand right now? Let's take a look at the latest moves. Okay, here's the play-by-play. In November of 2023, the community officially filed their petition to cancel the trademark. A few months later, in February 2024, Oracle fired back, asking the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to just dismiss the whole thing. And that brings us to today. The case is pending, and the future of one of the most important names in all of technology is hanging in the balance. And all of this leaves us with a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond just this one case. In a world that's increasingly built on open-source projects and global collaboration, who should get to own the names of our foundational technologies? Is it the corporation that happens to hold a piece of paper from a decades-old acquisition? Or is it the global community that actually gives that name its meaning and its power every single day? It's a huge question, and the entire tech world is waiting to see how it gets answered.